If you have been kidnapped by a group of terrorists, try to make friends with the kidnapper. If you get him to trust you, he will let you go out for air, and you can escape. If some gang members want to mess with you, get down and ask for forgiveness. It's better they laugh at you and not cut off your head. If you're wearing dirty clothes but it doesn't smell bad, don't do it. Your nose has gotten used to the bad smell and can no longer detect the stench, but you're really a piggy. If you notice that a thief wants to rob you, go quickly and talk to any random person as if he were your friend. Criminals will only attack you if you are alone. You're hanging out with your friends, but no one's paying attention to you. Do this to become the group's leader. Try to be the first to take action. If you're bored, put down your phone and plan something fun. But there's a problem. Your group already has a leader. When he tries to act really cool in front of all the friends of the group, discreetly steal the spotlight away from him. If he tell a funny story, interrupt them with an even better one. On the other hand, don't be afraid to draw attention to yourself, but be careful. You don't want to be the group clown either. Finally, a good leader is the first to help others. If someone has cheated on your friend, take them out partying so they'll stop crying.
A fan threw an object that looked like a toy bat onto the stage during the concert, and without thinking, the singer Ozzy Osbourne picked it up and bit it, thinking it was a toy. But to his surprise, the bat was real, and when he tore its head off with his teeth, he realized his huge mistake as the bat's blood entered his mouth. He was rushed to the hospital right after the concert, so they could give him the rabies antidote. The parasite enters through the gills and grabs onto the fish's tongue with very sharp claws. Then it cuts off the blood vessels of the tongue, blocking blood flow and causing it to die and fall off. With no tongue left, the parasite hooks its body onto the remaining stump, becoming the fish's new tongue. As the fish eats, the parasite steals part of its food, and this little guy will stay living inside the fish, acting as its tongue until death.
How long would you survive without these organs? Without a lung, you can relax, because you could live to old age just without doing much physical effort. But without a nose, your life expectancy would only be about 59 to 65 years. Without a liver, things get worse. Without medical treatment, you'd survive just 2 days. And without skin, you'd have much less time. You'd last between 6 and 20 hours of pain. On the other hand, without a stomach, believe it or not, you could live more than 70 years. Similar to living without a kidney. With just one healthy kidney, you can live a normal life, but without a heart pumping blood to your organs, you'd only survive about 10 minutes. And without a tongue, with a lot of training, you could live to around 50 years. Finally, without a brain, you'd die in about 5 minutes because you wouldn't be able to control your body.
If you see a sports car on the street, don't take a photo. Rich people are stupid and they're always angry. If you're lost in the snow, do not start a fire. If your body warms up too quickly, the temperature change could kill you. If you're trapped on a broken down train, break the windows with the emergency hammer. There are many sick people on the train breathing and they'll pass their illnesses to you. If you break a beehive, try whistling very loudly. They'll think you're their friend and won't sting you. A woman found an AirTag in her purse and started panicking in fear. She started wondering who had hidden it there and why she was being followed. Scared, she called Alex, one of her best friends. He arrived within minutes and calmed her down, telling her everything was fine. Taking the AirTag from the hands of her friend, he googled how to destroy it and found that smashing it with a hammer was the best option. The two went to the backyard and the man smashed the AirTag, helping the woman calm down, but only for now.
Things everyone did when they were a kid. Pointing at yourself on the little supermarket screen, hitting the leaves when walking under a tree, trying to erase with that eraser that erased nothing and actually made everything worse. Closing the fridge slowly to see if the light would turn off, waking up at 7:27 when the alarm was at 7:30 and going back to sleep for those 3 minutes, or waiting for your fingers to recharge so you could fit them back together again. Do this to get a free Lamborghini. Start by going to the supermarket and buy a bottle of super glue. Then go back home and gather all the toothpicks sitting around the kitchen. Stick them all together and they will turn into a plank. Leave the house and place the plank on top of your father's car. Now, take an apple out of your pocket and place it on the plank. After a few hours, a big elephant will come and eat the apple. Then take a rat out of the trash and show it to the elephant. It will be so scared that it will start jumping on the plank. Your father's car will be pressed flat, and now you have a free Lamborghini. 3 tricks used by witches to survive. During the witch hunt, women were tied up and thrown into the river. The first one thought of hiding afloat under her blouse and pretending she was dead while floating. But when she saw that she didn't sink, they started throwing stones at her. The second one had a friend who would wait for her with a knife to cut the ropes underwater. But a guard noticed him and jumped into the water to make sure neither of them got out. The third woman took some stones and put them in her shoes, causing her to sink much faster. The people were convinced that she wasn't a witch. She only waited 30 seconds to come up to the surface, and everyone apologized to her.
A woman downloaded a sleeping app on her phone thinking it would help her rest better. This app recorded her sounds while she slept, like talking or moving. But one night at 2 in the morning, it recorded some very strange noises, as if someone was searching for something in her room. So while half asleep, she whispered, "What are you doing?" And a man with a deep voice replied, "Nothing." But she was home alone with just her baby son, until she decided to move to another house and the sounds mysteriously stopped. If you're in a zombie apocalypse and a zombie bites your friend, lock him up for 2 days. The virus takes 48 hours to show symptoms, and you'll see if he turns into a zombie. If you're going to school but a superhero is fighting a villain, don't get in your car. The superhero will use your car as a weapon, and you'll get crushed. If you're always sleepy in class, stop using your phone before going to sleep. The screen light makes your brain think it's daytime, and it won't let you sleep. If you're fat and can't lose weight, eat a lot of fruit. You'll fill your belly very quickly and won't feel hungry.
You're in the middle of a zombie apocalypse. Do this to survive. First, go to the nearest museum. Look for the medieval artifacts room and grab a suit of armor. It's nearly impossible for a zombie to bite through and penetrate armor. On the other hand, you'll think that firearms like pistols or machine guns are the best option for defending yourself, but you'll run out of ammo really quickly, and also the noise will attract more zombies. The best weapon is actually a good pair of running shoes to outrun the zombies, or at least run faster than your companion. Finally, the 2 best zones for survival are a snowy mountain where the zombies freeze, or an island in the middle of the sea because zombies can't swim.
If you leave your room and your mum has invited her friends over, grab some duct tape and stick it over the doorbell. Your mum and her friends will go open the door and you'll be able to walk by unnoticed. If you're caught by a tornado and don't have shelter to protect yourself, find an empty car tire and get inside it. If the tornado sucks you up, you won't get hurt when you fall. If your boss is giving you too much work, send them a funny brain rot meme. They'll find it hilarious and start treating you better. If you're in Africa, don't even think about showering with water. In Africa, there's nearly no drinking water, and you could be taking water away from an entire town.
Would you rather be afraid of the dark or your own reflection? I would rather be afraid of my own reflection because any light would create a shadow that would scare me. And besides, I would not rather see my ugly reflection. Would you rather have infinite wishes or a lot of good luck? I would rather have a lot of good luck, as I might accidentally destroy the world by making wishes. And if I have good luck, I'll always end up winning. Would you rather fight against the aliens or against the demons? I would rather fight the demons because the aliens will surely have weapons that would eliminate us in a few seconds. Would you rather be able to run super fast but only in circles, or be invisible but only when you close your eyes? To be honest, I'm not totally sure, but subscribe to Big Dan Baby.
Security cameras recorded a woman pressing all the elevator buttons while nervously glancing down the hallway. Minutes later, she vanished completely without a trace. During the next weeks, hotel guests began complaining that the water wasn't working, and when maintenance checked the water tank on the rooftop, they found the woman's body floating inside. There were no signs of trauma or violence on her body, and the police closed the case, saying she had accidentally drowned. But the water tanks were padlocked and the rooftop doors were completely locked. It was impossible for the woman to have entered alone. So why did she act so strange in the elevator? And how did she get to the rooftop to drown in the water tank?
If you think someone is following you, do this to find out. At first, make sure you're not crazy. If you're walking down the street and you see someone once, it's totally normal. If you go into a store and see them again, it's probably only a funny coincidence. But if you see them once again in a totally different place, according to the Moscow rules, you're being followed. To be completely sure, turn to your right 4 times to complete a full loop. If they're still behind you after looping around, it's not a coincidence. They're following you. Now, this is what you have to do. Pretend nothing is wrong and act normal. Look for a crowded place like a big store or a restaurant. Then tell the manager about the suspicious person and call the police to stop the criminal.
If you're lost and got nothing available to eat, do not try to hunt the wild animals. They move very fast and you'll use so much energy that you'll die of exhaustion. If you see footprints outside your house, grab a stone before going inside. An assassin is just waiting for you to kill. If you're walking during the night and someone calls you, do not turn. They are a group of gang members looking for a fight. If you're an idiot and never make your bed, throw your mattress in the trash. It's full of dirty bugs that will rot your skin.
In 1999, a man robbed a Burger King with a BB gun, and he was sentenced to 13 years in prison. At the trial, the man said he was sorry, but there was nothing he could do. So he went home and waited for the police to take him to jail. But days passed, then months, and no one came for him. So he decided to enjoy every second of freedom he had. He started his own construction company, he paid his taxes, and he never tried to hide. 13 years later, when the police went to take him out of prison, they realized they had never locked him up in the first place. They arrested him right away, but more than 35,000 people asked for his release, and he was set free after spending less than 1 year in prison.
A girl took medicine to cure her cold, but a few hours later she was dead. Over the next few days, 6 more people died the same way. The deaths terrified everyone and forced the medicine to be pulled from all stores. Millions of bottles of the medicine were destroyed, and the police began a detective investigation. They discovered that a killer had opened the bottles and put poison inside. The tragedy led to all medicines in the world being sealed with tamper-proof caps, but the killer was never caught.
A boy jumped into fresh cement to win a bet with his friends, but the cement mixer broke down and poured a huge amount of cement covering him up to his chest. The construction workers tried to help him, but the cement started to harden quickly, making it impossible for him to move his arms and legs. The firefighters worked for hours and used saws and hammers to free him. After 5 hours, they managed to cut through the block and rushed him to the hospital. While the boy was being treated, they discovered that he had burns on his skin caused by the chemicals in the cement. Doctors applied bandages with ointment, used small tools, and took their time to remove the remaining pieces. In the end, the boy survived and made better friends.
A woman climbed a giant tree to protect it from a group of loggers who were planning to cut it down. At first, most people thought she would come down after a few days, but days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, and she still refused to leave. She lived on 2 small platforms and used ropes to receive food. Despite harsh weather, rainfall, and even threats from the loggers, the woman kept living in the tree. Finally, after 738 long days, the loggers agreed to protect the tree and the entire forest, and the woman came down at last.
If you're at the beach, but the sand is extremely hot, wet your feet with water. You'll make a ball of wet sand that protects you from the heat. If you're about to die in the snow and you don't have a hat, take off your pants and put them on your head. If your brain freezes, you could die from hypothermia. If you're talking to your grandpa, but he falls asleep while talking, ask him to count from 1 to 5. If he can't, he might be suffering a stroke. If your dad calls you, but he just wants to ask you for money, turn on airplane mode. He'll think you don't have signal and he'll stop calling you. If you are in a zombie apocalypse and a zombie bites your friend, lock him up for 2 days. Viruses take 48 hours to show symptoms, and you will see if he turns into a zombie. If you are going to school, but a superhero is fighting a villain, don't get into your car. The superhero will use your car as a weapon, and you will die crushed. If you are always sleepy in class, stop using your phone before sleeping. The light from the screen makes your brain think it is daytime and doesn't let you sleep. If you are fat and can't lose weight, eat lots of fruit. You will fill your stomach very quickly and won't be hungry.
Guess which student gets better grades? This is big. When he gets to class, he takes out his notebook and starts taking notes. While the teacher explains the lesson, Big copies everything word for word. On the other hand, Dan doesn't take notes right away, as he waits until the teacher finishes explaining each topic. Then he writes the notes in his own words. Several studies show that Dan gets better grades, and he understands the topic better.
World War III has begun, and you are drafted into the army. Do this to survive. Get up early, make your bed, and learn to say yes sir loud and clear, so the sergeant won't hate you on the first day. Befriend the strongest person and share part of your ration. If you get hurt, he will be the first to help you mindlessly. Never miss one training. Being physically fit will save your life. Running will always be better than fighting. Now, learn to use your knife. Use it to cut ropes, open cans, and if necessary, cut off your own arm. Never listen to someone of your same rank. They will probably play a prank on you and everyone will bully you. If you have to go to war but are afraid, step on a rusty nail, your foot will get infected and they will cut it off, but at least you won't have to go to war.
If you're afraid of speaking in public in front of a big crowd, imagine everyone naked and wearing Mickey Mouse ears. That way, the audience will look ridiculous, and you won't feel embarrassed to speak. If you go on a trip to the desert, bring an inflatable cactus and place it in the middle of the desert. When a traveler is dying of thirst, he'll try to drink from the cactus and it'll explode in his face. If you go with your friends to a haunted house, hide a speaker somewhere in the house beforehand, and play scary sounds using Bluetooth from your phone. All your friends will crap their pants in fear, and they'll respect you for being brave. If you're broke and your laptop overheats very fast, grab a fan and put it in the freezer for 15 minutes. Then turn it on facing your computer so it doesn't overheat further.
Objects that were invented for something else. First, Play-Doh. It was originally invented as a soot cleaner, but kids started using it to make animal shape. The microwave. It was discovered by accident when an engineer saw a chocolate bar melt near a radar machine, and he decided to use that technology to heat food. Duct tape. During World War II, bullets were falling out of boxes, so the tape was made to seal ammo boxes. Aluminum foil. At first, it was only made to wrap candy and chocolate. Now it has hundreds of uses. If you find oil in your backyard, can you keep it? Even though the oil is on your land, it doesn't mean you're automatically rich, because depending on where you live, you might only own the surface of the land and not what's beneath it. But then, who does the oil belong to? It might belong to a company, although normally it tends to be government property. But even if the oil does belong to you, there are laws about how and when you can extract it depending on the country. In Dubai, you can take the oil without any problem, but in the United States, there are stricter environmental laws. If your country lets you dig, you have 3 options. Lease it to a company that will keep a share of the oil, sell the land and earn millions of dollars, or take a risk and extract the oil yourself.
If you're lost while in the mountains, look for some plants and take cover in a cave. If you make a fire, you won't freeze to death during the night. If you go to school in a dangerous neighborhood, put your backpack inside your t-shirt. The thieves will think you're really fat and will not rob you. If you're an idiot and you're vegan, don't go to a barbecue with your friends. You won't eat anything and they will laugh at you. If you're alone and super thirsty but you find dirty water, search and grab a lot of bamboo sticks. If you filter the water through the hole in the rods, you'll get clean and drinking water.
If you're lost underwater and don't know which way is up, release a little bit of air and follow the bubbles. They will guide you to the surface. If you're going to sleep, always keep your car keys near your bed. If a thief tries to break into your house, you can press the alarm button and scare them away. If you're trapped in a car, remove the headrest and use the metal rods to smash the corner of the window. This is the weakest part and will break it. If a thief breaks into your house, start telling them your sad life story. They will get bored and leave you alone.
If you pluck a hair from your head, it could hold around 40 coins without breaking. But if you braid half of all of your hair into a rope, it would have the strength to hold the weight of a truck. And if you used all of your hair to make a rope, it could support around 15 tons, which is about the weight of a young blue whale. If you find yourself in a room with walls closing in very slowly, most people would immediately begin to panic, but that will only waste your time and energy. Instead, look for a mechanism or button that might stop the walls. If you can't find one, use a strong object to wedge between where the walls are moving, with the objective of blocking the movement. If that doesn't work, try to climb quickly and look for a gap above the walls where you can escape the deadly force.
By accident, you put the milk in before the cereal because you're way too tired. Do this and you'll be able to sleep better. After you finish school and playing on your phone, it is time for dinner. Remember, you really need to stop eating a full 2 hours before going to bed. On the other hand, 30 minutes before going to sleep, stop using your phone and turn on airplane mode. However, how do I set my alarm if I don't have the phone? Go buy yourself a real clock with an alarm. Finally, put up dark curtains to block out the light. Don't drink water before sleeping, and subscribe to Big Dan Baby.
A farmer paints his cow with black and white stripes, mimicking the pattern of a zebra. It might seem ridiculous, but this pattern actually makes cows happier, helping them produce more milk. You see, the stripes help them blend in better with the environment, but they also confuse insects like mosquitoes, making them dizzy so they can't bite the cow. Scientists discovered that unhappy cows consistently produce less milk, and giving them this zebra-like pattern helps keep bugs away, which in turn increases milk production. If you're driving and a car starts following you, turn right 4 times. If it's still behind you, head to the nearest police station. If the ice in your drink doesn't float, don't drink it. It's very likely that it's been poisoned. If a guide dog starts barking at you but doesn't have an owner, follow it and call 911. You could save someone's life. If you're a man and a pregnancy test comes out positive when you pee on it, see a doctor immediately. It's very likely that you have cancer. If you're at the mall and someone drops money in front of you, don't pick it up. It might be someone recording an honesty test and you'll look ridiculous. If you're walking and see a grenade on the ground, don't try to throw it away. It might explode as soon as you pick it up. Instead, run away fast and hide, blocking your ears. If you're lost in the jungle and a monkey steals your stuff, don't try to fight it. Monkeys are extremely strong and it'll beat you up. Instead, try to trade your things for a banana. If you find a gas station with extremely low prices, don't stop to get gas. They've mixed it with oil to make it cheaper.
In 2014, a baby stuck a pencil up his nose and somehow pushed it through the nasal passage until he inserted it 7 centimeters into his brain. They took him immediately to the hospital, and the doctors had to extract it very carefully while trying not to cause more damage. But the pencil had magically managed to miss all the important nerves and blood vessels, and they were able to remove it without making any long-term damage.
Do not shout on a mountain with a lot of snow. The vibration of your voice will bounce off the snow, causing an avalanche, and you'll die crushed. If you're dumb and are smoking in the jungle, do not throw the cigarette butts on the ground. The monkeys will learn to smoke and end up dying of cancer. Do not swim if you see white rocks in the sand at the beach. The water is so salty that the salt has separated into rocks, which will dehydrate your body. If you travel to the United States, never take a taxi at the airport. They're scammers who take advantage of innocent tourists to charge a lot of money.
If you blend all of the human beings in the world and mold them into a big ball, many people might think that it would be enormous. But is that really true? Well, humans don't actually take up much space when they're compressed. In total, the 8 billion people on the planet mashed together would weigh approximately 500 million kilos. And if we compress them into a giant ball, it would measure a little over a kilometer.
If you drink 70 cups of coffee, the massive amount of caffeine will kill you instantly. But just a couple of tablespoons of powdered caffeine could be even more dangerous. Look, a single tablespoon of caffeine powder equals 28 cups of coffee. And in 2019, a man accidentally mixed too much caffeine powder into his drink, the equivalent of more than 200 cups of coffee, causing his heart to start beating extremely fast. The man began foaming at the mouth just before he died.
If you use ChatGPT, always say please and thank you. If artificial intelligence takes over the world, the AI will remember you and won't kill you. If you take a photo and your eyes look red, go to the doctor as fast as possible. A blood vessel in your eye might have exploded. If your nose starts bleeding, never tilt your head backwards. The blood will flow into your throat and you'll get a stomach infection. If it starts raining and you don't want to get wet, don't even think about running since you'll get twice as wet. Instead, walk calmly. How to become invisible. Go to the supermarket and buy a lot of super glue. Go back home and pour the super glue on the floor. Cover all of your body with super glue until you are completely sticky. Find a trash can and stick some trash onto yourself. This will attract flies and they'll stick to your body. Now, go into the jungle and stay there for about 3 hours. All the chameleons will get closer and they'll try to eat the flies. Since their tongues will get stuck to the super glue, you'll end up covered in chameleons. Now you'll have your own active camouflage suit and you will become totally invisible.
If you see red mushrooms in the woods, closely inspect them to see if they look like umbrellas. Even if Super Mario eats them and grows bigger, you'll get killed by the poison and die. If someone tries to choke you using a plastic bag, do not breathe and exhale all the air at once to inflate the bag. If you bite it, it will pop like a balloon and you'll be able to breathe. If you are starving to death, look for trees with soft and moist leaves. If you suck on them, you'll gain energy, but they won't kill you. If you've been kidnapped, start peeing on yourself. The kidnappers will get tired of the bad smell and they'll set you free.
3 absurd ways people used to escape from prison. First, Yoshi Shitori is a man who escaped from prison using only the food they gave him. Every night the guards gave him the same dinner: rice, vegetables, and salty soup. He ate everything but the soup, and instead of throwing it away, he poured it over his shackles, and they slowly rusted over time. One day, he managed to break the chains and escaped. Second, Calvinho da Silva. This man tried to escape by disguising himself as his own daughter. In 2019, she did not go to visit him in prison, and everything seemed very normal, but Calvinho put on his daughter's clothes, a wig, and tried to walk out the main door, but the guards noticed and he didn't get very far.
If you get kidnapped by a group of terrorists, hide your designer clothes and luxury items. If they find out you're a rich kid, they'll demand a large ransom from your family. If you live in a dangerous neighborhood, always carry 2 phones on you. If you get robbed, you can give them the fake one, and the thief will look ridiculous. If you want to sneeze, do not hold your nose. The air in your lungs is so strong that it could break your bone. If you're dumb and have a lot of tattoos, cover them before entering a dangerous neighborhood. Criminals might mistake you for a rival gang member and you'll die. If you're in a building and about to use the elevator, don't get in if there are more than 8 people. The cables won't support the weight and you'll be crushed. If you get tied up and thrown into the sea, don't try to undo the knot with your teeth. You'll waste too much time and run out of air. First move your head to float, then untie yourself. If you're in a fire and there's smoke everywhere, cover your nose with a cloth and crawl on the ground. The clean air stays low and the toxic smoke rises. If you're on a plane that makes an emergency landing on water, don't inflate your life vest inside the plane. You could get stuck at the door and die while drowning. A child swallowed 31 magnets from a toy bracelet in 2016, which ended up getting stuck inside his stomach. If the magnets had connected, they could have damaged all his organs, causing severe harm and deadly infections. The doctors inserted a very thin tube with a camera through his mouth to reach the stomach, and they passed a powerful magnet through the tube to pull the metal balls out of the child's body, managing to save his life without any damage to his organs. If you come across a lot of stray cats, do not give them food. They'll think you have infinite food and they'll follow you to your house to live with you. If your front door is open and has scratch marks on the lock, lock the door completely and call the police. A group of thieves is trapped inside your house. If your car won't start, ask a friend to push the car. If the wheels are moving, the engine will be able to start. If you're gross and don't clean your hair, cut it off now. Your hair has rotted and it's the perfect home for lice. If you're dying of hunger, look for trees with soft and moist leaves. If you suck on them, you'll gain energy but they won't kill you. If you're home alone and you choke while eating, slam your body against a piece of furniture to generate force in your stomach and push the food out. If you need to put a message inside a bottle, don't write near the edges of the paper. The water could smudge the ink and erase the whole message. If you're arguing with your mum and you're really angry, stop yelling and write down everything you're thinking on paper. This will help you control your emotions so you can keep arguing more calmly. If you're on a plane and it starts shaking violently, do not panic. Just stare at the flight attendant. If they are calm, it means there's no real danger. If you think a passenger is going to hijack your plane, this is what you need to do. First, make sure you're not just being paranoid. Is the passenger sweating? Maybe he's just hot. Is he rude and using swear words? He might just be nervous flying for the first time on a plane. But if he's doing all of that while looking suspiciously at the flight attendant, you've probably discovered a terrorist. First, press the call button and alert the flight attendant about the hijacker's suspicious behavior. If the terrorist notices you, don't try to confront him verbally or physically. Instead, stay calm and listen to the flight attendant. They are trained to defuse situations on the plane and use tools to eliminate any threat. Also, the pilots are trained to lock the cockpit door and not open it for anyone under any circumstances. If everything goes silent and many animals start running around aimlessly, it means an earthquake is about to start. If a car lightly bumps into your trunk, don't stop to talk to the driver. They could be criminals that hit you on purpose to rob all your money. If you get offered a perfume sample on the street, cover your nose and don't breathe. It's actually chloroform meant to knock you out and kidnap you without drawing attention. If your house starts smelling like rotten eggs for no reason, turn off all the flames in your house. There's a gas leak, and if you use a lighter, you'll blow into smithereens. This donut has 15 grams of sugar, but this apple has 30. So why is the apple healthier than the donut? When you eat a donut, the refined sugars go into your bloodstream, causing a spike in your blood sugar levels. Your body responds by producing a lot of insulin to lower the glucose, but this leads to a sugar crash and you'll end up craving even more sugar. Consequences? Acne, weight gain, and heart problems. On the other hand, when eating an apple, you're consuming sugar but with natural fibers, which slow down how much sugar reaches your bloodstream, keeping your blood sugar levels stable.
If you are in the bathroom at school but suddenly you hear some bullies bullying a kid, quickly get on the toilet to hide your legs. If the bullies see you, they will beat you up too. If your car engine doesn't start, ask a close friend to push the car. If all the wheels are moving properly, the car engine can be started. If you receive money from a stranger online but he tells you it was a mistake, don't give it back. It's a scam used by fraudsters to launder money. If a friend of yours is lying to you, ask him a lot of specific details about what they're explaining. If he starts scratching his head, he's lying.
If you touch a cactus, it's very likely that the spines will stick into your skin. And if you try to pull them out, they could break and remain inside your body because they're extremely fragile. Instead, apply a layer of glue over the area with the spine. Once it's dry, peel the glue off with a quick, gentle motion. This can pull out all the spines at once, preventing them from breaking inside your hand. I think I'm going to stop going to school after seeing this. This is one day. This is the time you spend at home. This is the time you spend with your friends. This is the time you spend playing video games. This is the time you spend walking. And this is the time you spend at school. 7.8 hours a day. And look how little you have left of the day. If you stop going to school on Fridays, you'll gain 2 extra hours a day. Don't go on Mondays either, and you'll gain 3 hours a day.
If you're lost while hiking in the mountains, look for some plants and take cover in a cave. If you make a fire, you won't freeze to death during the night. If you go to school in a dangerous neighborhood, put your backpack inside your t-shirt. Thieves will think you're really fat and they won't mess with you. If you're an idiot and you're vegan, don't go to a barbecue with your friends. You won't be able to eat anything, and they will laugh at you. If you're dying of thirst but come across dirty water, try to find a lot of bamboo sticks. If you filter the water through the holes in the canes, you'll get clean drinking water.